So today we're going to talk about a topic that I've been thinking a lot about lately, and it's also a topic that holds a lot of people back, and that's living an abundant life. Because we have so many fears, or we're trapped in so many fears, and have so many myths about money and even beliefs about what it means to live well. So today I'm going to break down why living abundant should be your goal and let you know that there's absolutely nothing wrong with living an abundant life, especially if you move abroad. Because a lot of people feel when you move abroad that you should downgrade your lifestyle to make them feel better about themselves. So I recently read a comment from a viewer under one of my recent videos that said, between you and Jamie Gruber, you both have inspired me to move back to my country so I can have and live a similar lifestyle as you guys. So I screenshotted the comment, sent it over to Jamie, and laughingly put in the caption, "We out here doing the Lord's work." And so Jamie responds and said, "Man, stuff like this really fires me up to know that what we're doing is inspiring others to move back or just make a decision." And I'm gonna tell you, I feel the same way. And he and I both have experienced and heard where people have moved back just because of the content that we've put out. Now, I'm gonna have to throw my wife in the mix at Naberizar, or Naberizar, however you guys refer to her as, because she was the first person where I've seen countless people approach her in the airports, grocery stores, parks, wherever, anywhere out in public, and say, "You're the reason," or "Your videos were the reason why I moved back to the Dominican Republic." A lot of times when we talk positive about the DR, people are thinking that we're putting lipstick on a pig, because they already have these preconceived notions about what they feel about DR, what they've heard. And for Dominicans who have left the island, they only can think about things that they remember back when they lived here in the 70s and the 80s, not knowing that things around here have changed tremendously. When in fact, I look at DR as an uncut diamond. Yeah, it's rough around the edges, but guess what? It's still a diamond. But people often try to shame Jamie and I for showing a different side of DR. Because we don't engage and waste our time showing poverty in the barrios, we get a lot of slack for that. Everybody wanting to move to Dominican Republic is not moving for the same reason. Not everyone that moves here is looking to save a buck or downgrade their lifestyle. And yes, there are people who move here that want to live frugal and save every dime that they can. But there are also people who move here who want to upgrade their lifestyle and get more bang for their buck. And then there's everybody else in between there. I did not come here to downgrade my lifestyle. I'm guilty as charged. I wanted a parallel move and at the same time save money so I can put toward investments. My goal was never to go live in a lower class neighborhood. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but that wasn't my plan. And you know what's funny is that people think that just because we stay in a upper middle class neighborhood, that somehow we're disconnected from what's really going on. In the US, when you leave the hood, or if that's what you want to call it, maybe you get a job, you graduate from college, you get a job, and then you able to buy your new house, people celebrate you for that. But here, when you move abroad and you decide, or you're living better, it's like they demonize you for that. When we were in Fort Lauderdale, we was paying $2,400 a month to stay in, what they call, down there they have these luxury apartments, elevators, and it wasn't like we were in downtown Miami in one of those, 20-story, 30-story condos. I mean, this place had 6 floors, but it was nice. It was decent. I'm not gonna say anything was bad about it, and it was in, pretty safe neighborhood. But it wasn't like, man, check out where I'm living at. You know what I'm saying? But we paying $2,400. To me, that was, I don't even know if that was middle class living or not. You know what I'm saying? It probably was borderline. And then we moved here and we saved 50% on rent. And by us saving 50% on rent, we landed in the upper middle class area by paying $1,200 here. Because when we got here, we were paying $1,200. So to me, I think that's a win. Most of the time, people will congratulate you on that. But for some reason, when you're in the Dominican Republic, that's a no-no. You can't live upper middle class here. You gotta live in the barrios or you're disconnected. And a lot of this thinking comes from a poverty mindset. There's this misconception that being wealthy, having money, or living an abundant life is somehow selfish and wrong. And a lot of us have been raised to believe that poverty is virtuous and wanting more is greedy. And that can be further from the truth. And we all know the biggest lie ever told is that money is the root of all evil. When that's not what the Bible says. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. And that's a huge difference. Money is just a tool. It's what you do with it that matters. You can create opportunity, you can help others, and you can also live a fuller life. But when you worship it and only focus on it, that's when things tend to go wrong. And some people believe that the Bible calls us to be poor and live with less. But if you really read the Bible, it mentions abundance over 70 times. It's about living in a way that's full of purpose and provision. And living abundant is not about having material wealth. It's about being able to bless others and share with others what you've been given. And just because I don't post videos about charities, orphanages, buying school supplies, buying baseball uniforms, or any other type of charity event, that doesn't mean me and my wife doesn't give back. And what we do for the community is our business. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people advertising, what they do and the charity work they do. I think that's fine, but that's just not something that we do. So why should living in abundance be everybody's goal? I'm glad you asked. Because living abundantly means living without limits, being free of fear, free of scarcity, free to live a life full of impact. I'm not trying to go to the restaurant and order from the left side of the menu. If I want that $80 tomahawk steak, I want it. If I want that lobster tail and those snow crab legs, I'm gonna buy it without having to worry about whether I can afford it or not. And that's another thing I stopped saying, and that's I can't afford it when it's something that I want. And I changed it up to how can I afford it? Guys, words matter. And if you continue to throw out in the universe this negative energy, is only gonna return negative energy. So when I start saying to myself, how can I afford it? Then your brain and this energy starts to work in your favor. But as long as you keep saying, oh, I can't afford it, or I ain't got no money, or that costs too much, you'll never be able to afford it. It's gonna always cost too much. And here's something that I heard from, I think it was Grant Cardone or maybe somebody else, one of these motivational speakers, but they said, no, it's not that things cost too much, it's that you just can't afford it. So you have to change your way of thinking and say, hey, how can I afford this? Living in abundance and feeling abundance allows us to follow our purpose and inspire others. That's what my content does. That's what Jamie Gruber's content does. That's what at Jay Gives Back content does. And that's what Norberis R, my wife's content does. So don't be afraid to live an abundant life. There's nothing to fear and nothing to be ashamed of. Abundance is your birthright and you should claim it. At the end of the day, me wanting the best for my family, whether that's a better lifestyle or creating better opportunities, that's my choice. You can see it different and that's your choice. I think of money and abundance differently. But if living in my purpose bothers you, and I'm not saying anyone in specific, I'm saying you in general, to a point where you think I should feel guilty because I earned this living, then I must say, in the great words of my grandmother, and God rest her soul, Alice, boy, you stuck on stupid. So until the end, remember, always keep your goals at the forefront of your mind. Always live in the present, because that's the only way you're going to live your best life. And I'm out. Peace.
Je begon aan mijn best life, yeah. Je begon aan mijn best life, yeah. Something you and me, oh. Je begon aan mijn best life, yeah. Jumping, flexing,